The Lone Star State played host to NARRA's National Rolling Road Show in September as records tumbled during rounds 13 and 14 of the USGT Championship and Whelen US Time Trial Championship. Also featuring the acclaimed US Performance Driver Education Program, the event brought with it some surprises, little cars, and some big guns.
It's just a Miata. I don't know what the big deal is about. It is a LS swap tied to a Ford Road Race transmission, Cadillac CTS rear end, shoehorned into a Miata. So it's a lot of fun to run, and it surprises quite a few faces when we pass them on the track.
Well, basically this weekend I'm here to help out Jim and Kathy Stout do a better job of what they're doing currently, and so far this weekend they've done very, very well. Small hiccup for Jim though, he's feeling a bit ill, so I think I'm just going to jump in and at least help him out, get the car running, get some exposure out for the USGT Championship, and show what the Vipers can actually do out there against the other cars.
I'm going to get to do the long endurance races with the factory SRT team and ALMS GT. Looking forward to that. Our first race is coming up in about a month's time for the Petite Le Mans at Road Atlanta. The SRT had me out this weekend to get some extra seat time in the Viper. Start driving something with a lot more torque, a lot more horsepower, bigger tire, just more of everything.
The pair showing their class, locking out the front row for Saturday's GT race after a to and fro battle in qualifying. Continuing the America Le Mans theme, the second row with TRG's Ben Keating third and Booth, who instead of his Ferrari turned up with a fourth car he's used this year, the last Viper to grace the ALMS, the former Primetime Performance Tech car. Keating also in unfamiliar equipment.
I've traded for this car and the Neon I'm running in TTU, and so I thought I'd come out and see what I could do and hopefully do well enough to sell a couple of cars.
The field a menacing sight as they lined up for the start. With the flag waving, the SRT boys checked out to have their own battle into turn one. Wittmer describes as we ride with Booth.
At the start of the race, I tried getting Jonathan into corner one because I think we have just a little more horsepower on him. Had the jump, and it was just too tight to close the door on him down there.
But the real trickster, Keating. After Fiorelli had said thank you very much, Keating back around the outside of turn 2 to restore order. Then a cold tyre moment for Booth in turn 3 set Keating up for a run at the end of the back straight. 2 laps later, Fiorelli followed suit.
Finally got around Booth, and then I got held up a little bit by a lap car, and next thing I know there's that big green monster of David McNiel right behind me. So I just started to lose my tires, and I just kind of slow down and park it in the slow corners and then out drag racing down the straight. He wasn't real happy about that, but pretty good sport about it.
The strategy worked. Fiorelli not the only one to lose tires, Wittmer lost one completely.
The tires were just wearing out so quickly, and unfortunately I think about 15 or 20 minutes into the race, the right rear tire just blew up.
Meanwhile, it was Trevor Nelson on the move, from 14th at the end of lap 1, picking cars off lap after lap. Decker, Kathy Stout, and Gorodona to join his father for the fight of their lives. A four-way tussle for 7th.
You dream about racing like that.
That was very intense. I was working real hard to get past Eric and Steve because I got past them earlier and I went right off, and so I four-wheeled through there and they got right by me again. And this time I was out of rubber. I was starting to slide everywhere. And it was a great battle. That was probably the best race I've ever done.
Man, they're just good racers. You know, it was wheel to wheel, close, and tires let out after a while, so it was drifting all the way.
And Todd and Loudin weren't finished either. The unlimited ACR with more legs down the straight, but out-handled by the restricted GT2 Comp Coupe.
He handles and drives perfectly. I mean, I waited for a mistake. I waited for tires to give up. It just didn't happen. It didn't happen. It wasn't until one of the last guys in the field blocked him that I got a jump on him, finally got around him.
And while Farmer won GT3 after battling Decker for 13th overall, Loudin finished in front of his arch rival to claim GT2. But with the best 6 results, counting for the championship, Kathy Stout actually closed the gap.
I think only 10 points, but 10 points is 10 points. We still have to, finish the race tomorrow and get the finals and the Saturday race on finals. After that's over, I'll breathe easy.
Home 3rd overall and 2nd in class, Fiorelli, who had given himself another title.
That's right. I think I got first place in GT Vintage. It's fast. It's the fastest Gen 2 out here, that's for sure.
And a historic win for Bomarito, his first in a Viper. Jim Booth collecting third in GTU, and valuable points. McNiel, an impressive fourth outright, and second in GT1. Keating, the class winner. But it wasn't the first time either of them had graced the podium this weekend. The pair taking out Friday's Texas GT90 Enduro.
We were able to get out front in the beginning, and our driver change didn't go as well as we had planned, but Ben was able to capture it right back.
I'm excited. We won, and it was a lot of fun. Just doesn't get any better.
Welcome to another episode of Racing No Filter. Joining me in sunny California, Bill Wood, and down in sunny Florida, Peter King.
We're going to take a look at some of the products HPD has created for the 2012 Honda Civic, and specifically we're going to show you how to install an adjustable sway bar.
Until then, folks out there, you take care.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Back to Saturday, and the benchmark for the Whelen US Time Trial Championship was redefined by TT1's Troy Messer. His third lap eclipsing the previous lap record, held by an unlimited car by nearly 3 seconds. Second fastest overall, last year's Saturday TTU winner, Paul Costas in his Camaro, and Tim Purtell, the only other driver in the 40s, second fastest in TT1. Finding 2 more seconds, Purtell solidified the position in the second run. Costas also quicker, setting a new TT Unlimited lap record. But it was behind him where the battle was really interesting. Trying to break his string of third place finishes, Boulden was on for second after the morning run, up 0.3 over Greenberg until
we had brake issues, and so we had the car all tore apart during that second session, and I wasn't able to go out, and he aced me by 0.3 or something like that.
Still, Greenberg with his work cut out, trying to relegate Boulden to yet another third.
And I was hanging on for dear life just to barely get it.
The other TTU car causing quite the stir was a BMW with a strange stance and an unfamiliar sound. The owner must have been drinking from the same fountain as Chris Croninger.
A proper motor in a BMW, that's what it is. It's a LS3 board and stroke, 427 dry sump, 540 at the rear wheels, about 630 at the crank. Rockland transmission, Viper internals with a 4.8.8 diff, all catered to an M3 on steroids. It works great. I mean, we haven't gotten around to aero yet. We're all on mechanical grip, but it's sweet.
Sweet enough for 5th in TTU. McDonald leapfrogging Alera for an honourable 4th in TT1, while Gertz made a Viper sandwich for the messes on the podium. TTU winner Costas with an explanation for the incredible pace.
It's easy to see that the NARRA name is getting out there. It's attracting more folks. The competition is only going to get more intense, which is what we love.
And TT2 was no exception. Michael Perkins taking almost 4 seconds off the previous class lap record after fitting his Corvette with aero for the first time.
It's unbelievable the difference. I mean, I've made a lot of modifications to the car, and this one by far has made a world of difference. It's knocked 5 seconds off my fastest time, so we're looking to go a little faster. Still hadn't found the edge with it.
The fight for TT3 also exciting. 2 turbocharged SRT4s battling for the final step of the podium. The master, Ben Keating, and his apprentice, quite literally, Michael Greenberg Jr.
I think it's really fun because I go in and I'm only a little bit behind him, and I can go up to him and ask him questions, and he's fine with it, and he'll tell me what I want to know, and it's just really friendly.
The advice putting Jr. in front after session 1, Keating responding in session 3, Jr. much faster in the final run, but keeping a few tricks up his sleeve, Keating taking third. But proving there really is something in the water here in Texas, it was a pair of V8 transplants on the top 2 steps. Roberts taking second, and Kronecker the win by more than 6 seconds.
Well, you know, I told you it's just a Miata. Gets boring with little horsepower, so what do? Throw more horsepower in it. So it makes it a little more excitement for the weekend and surprise a few big cars along the way.
In fact, most of the field. His time, the 6th fastest outright, and yet another Whelen USTTC lap record. Jelly fending off David Hill for 3rd in TT2. Almeida's Porsche solidly in 2nd. And while there were plenty of imports in the time trial competition, it was the US Performance Driver Education Program that had attracted the weekend's most exotic entry.
Yeah, I'm Steve Loudin. I live in Luanda, Angola, which is in Africa on the west coast. I work for ExxonMobil there. I'm a drilling manager. I only get about 2 weeks off a year that I get to come back to the States, and I've got my car and I just keep it, and I only get to drive it a couple of weeks a year. So I saw the NARRA event. I've been trying for about 3 years to come to a NARRA event, but it never worked out that I could get my car to the same spot. So this is the first time, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I did come here expecting just to kind of be a DE class and just having some instruction, doing some laps, but seeing that NARRA is putting on a full race event and a race weekend, it's been very good to see that and understand that you can come here, learn, get support, get help, get instruction, and progress your way to whatever level you want.
And the goal for those already in the Whelen USTTC? Go faster on Sunday.
We'd like to do a 144. The car is actually capable probably of a 143. I don't know if the driver is, but we're probably going to go out there and lay down a comfortable lap, and then we're going to really go for it the next lap.
He missed a shift yesterday and lost a couple seconds, so I'm going to try to pick him up and get that 43 today.
Perkins slightly more coy.
We got new tires today. We were on old tires yesterday, so we'll see what happens.
But he couldn't extract everything out of his new boots. A spin on his first flyer and ending up 2/10 shy of Saturday's record. Jelly, the man on the move in TT2, finding 2 seconds overnight, Almeida unable to respond.
Yeah, it was a lot of fast cars out there, so got to try and out-handle them a little bit with the Porsche. I think my tires are wearing a little low, pretty much done, so this session was a little slower. Today was slower than yesterday.
Watson, another quicker on Sunday, relegating Hill to 5th by a 10th, but Hill responded 3 seconds faster in the next run to claim 4th. And the apprentice put it all into practice, not wanting a repeat of Saturday after again being only a couple of tenths up on Keating. Greenberg Jr. with a 58.2 in Session 2 to claim the podium in TT3. But it was those monster Miatas again claiming the top spots, Roberts with a personal best. Costas, again in a class of his own in the Unlimited class, lowering his lap record, but the big question, was Bolden worrying Greenberg?
Never worry about who's behind you, just go for the guy in front.
He closed the gap to Costas, Bolden just unable to shake 3rd place.
Nope, doesn't seem nothing I do. Well, I want to try harder.
Tight battles raged throughout the TT1 class. McCann, Sewell and Way all within a second as they fought for 7th. Robson, hot on the heels of 5th place McDonald in the morning, only a couple of tenths in it. With the pair looming, Ilera pushed hard to drop 2 seconds and solidify 4th, while McDonald produced his fastest time of the day in the final run to keep Robson at bay.
Oh, very, very stiff competition. That's the local guys here are just truly unbelievable.
And as for the messes, 3 was the magic number, but not quite the one TJ was looking for. A 44.3 in the 3rd lap of the day to rewrite the record books yet again by another full second. How and why they do it? Well, let's meet the team.
We are Troy and T.J. Messer. We have the unique opportunity to come race with NARRA. They've allowed us to have 2 people in the car at the same time And we've got a Corvette that Doug Rippey Motorsports custom built for TJ. TJ is the crew chief on the car, and probably more importantly than that, he's the driving coach. We've even got pictures of TJ as a baby and him in my lap, me giving him a ride in a late model stock car around the track. So this has been since day one, since he's been old enough to remember about this racing deal. So we do everything together, and we have forever and ever. He saw the junior dragsters on TV and became real interested. I didn't know if he quite had the ability to do it or not, so we immediately ordered up a junior dragster, and then we custom built it with all the hand controls. Man, he just took right off in that. So we're thinking, what can we do next? So we tried him out in the go-karts and built a special go-kart for him. Did that for about 5 or 6 years, and I couldn't really physically lift it up and down, so we came up with this and talked to Doug Rippey, and we built the car, and we wanted to see how it'd go, and it's turned out great. It's something that the whole family gets to do together. TJ has raced most of his adult life, and now we're getting this into where we can still continue racing, even with his cerebral palsy. One of the great things about TJ is he really knows how to motivate me. Many times I've come off the track and tells me how much I suck or how slow I am and how I might as well not even come to the track or whatever that may be. And he is not bashful about it, so he really gets me going.
I'll just go out there and look at the track and go, you need to pick it up here, or you need to brake a little later here. And I watch the gauges too and make sure everything's, the oil pressure's right and everything, the water temps where it needs to be, so I'm busy in the car.
He's just on top of all that, and I don't know how he does it, because I've focused way down the track, but he can see everything, and so he helps me out in a million different ways.
A remarkable story and a remarkable performance, again winning out over Gertz, and second place Purtell, who was one of the few to get his personal best in the final session.
It's just a great event. All the best drivers are here, so if you want good competition, this is the place to be.
Agreeing with him, Rene Molina, as he prepared for Sunday's USGT qualifying.
A lot of great drivers here today. I mean, we've got Ron Farmer, an ex-NASA national champion in the race class. And then, of course, so we've got the pro drivers and a few other guys. We've got some great talent in the field, so it's impressive to be in that field.
Bomarito blitzing the field again. Fastest in the session, but he couldn't stick around.
We're off to Road Atlanta to go test the ALMS GT car.
So Jim Booth inherited the pole, Fiorelli on the front row, Stout back in the saddle, and not impressive. While the other notable absentee, Keating, he'd sold the car.
It seems like half the cars in the paddock came from Tom Ball Dodge, ViperExchange.com, and so I'm just here rubbing elbows with customers, having a great time.
So given it's just down the road, we thought we'd find out more about the Viper Exchange and the racers behind it, Ben Keating and Bernie Katz.
My name is Ben Keating. I'm a car dealer. My grandfather was a car dealer. My father was a car dealer. My father was a Ford dealer. My first dealership was a Ford dealership. And in Port Lavaca, I got the opportunity to buy a Chrysler store, Dodge Chrysler Jeep. And the number one thing I did, the first thing I did was to dealer trade in a Viper, because I was so excited to be a Dodge dealer because I could finally get a Viper. I thought it was the sexiest car on the road. I actually got involved with NARRA because my wife bought me a weekend at Texas World Speedway. I came out here and got to know NARRA and started, it's the funnest thing I'd ever done, started bringing my street car out here, which quickly turned into buying a race car. I won the GT1 championship that next year, and then I moved up to a Comp Coupe and won the the GTMC Championship is what it used to be called, 3 years in a row, with a close competition with Jim Stout every year, and had a blast doing it. And then when Chrysler came out with the ACRX and the Viper Cup program, I decided to go racing in the Viper Cup. I got second place in the championship my first year. Last year I won the championship, and I've got a pretty good lead this year, feeling really good about my chances to win a second championship. I was connected through Viper car deals with Bernie Katz at BJ Motors in Virginia, and we had done a lot of business together, enjoyed working together. We got together, formed Viper Exchange. That was just a central place for us to be able to use whatever resources we had from all 4 of our Chrysler stores to put them all into one big Viper headquarters.
Viper Exchange is become the #1 volume Viper dealer in the country, and I attribute a lot of this to the passion that we both have for the car. Both being avid racers, both being avid car guys.
In the last 2 years that Viper was built, in 09 and 2010, we ordered 154 new Vipers. When we bought the Chrysler store, the whole second story was built for accounting, and we didn't need the accounting. We have central accounting over at the Ford store, and so we had an engineer come out and look at it. It turns out that it was designed for 4-drawer file cabinets, which happened to be heavier than cars. So it was plenty stout. The trouble was how to get them up there. We literally cut a hole in the wall, put a 2-story lift on the outside of the building, and cleared everything out, created a huge Viper showroom on the second story of the dealership. It's a cool place, much different than any other dealership that I know of anywhere. We have Viper Club meetings up there. People will travel in from a long way away if they want to look at every different color combo, see it in person, things like that. We have a lot of people that come by and just say, hey, I just want to look at the Vipers. I mean, we're unique in lots of other ways. You know, we're the only dealership that I know of that'll take a race car on trade. We bought and sold a lot of race cars. We're heavily involved in the racing community, and that's been a great thing for us. We know about performance. We know about, high-end cars, and we really get into conversations with our customers about brake cooling, about what differential is best, what wheels and tires, what modifications. We do have the biggest selection, but we've got a huge depth of experience to rely on as well. Being the top volume Viper dealer in the nation means that we've got to be able to take care of those cars, and we have 4 of the best Viper techs in the world. We've had customers that have asked us to do everything from a full cage to full race prep to run the 1 lap of America, all the way to someone who just wants a different exhaust system. But I mean, from our racing program that we have all the way through to the technicians in the shop, we can do literally just about anything.
When you own a car of this magnitude, people want it to be taken care of. We have anywhere from 6 to 8 Vipers in the shop per week, and we do this from not just Texas, but from all over the country. People ship their cars to us pretty much from everywhere. We work on them and we send them back.
And while Keating wasn't in Sunday's race, one of his old cars was. Let's ride with McNiel as the field comes around for the green. He pops early, but he gets away with it, passing Antonelli. A good start too for Fiorelli. Stout then having a look before covering an aggressive Gallierne into turn 1 and again into 2. Further back, Loudin already passed Kathy Stout for the GT2 lead with a big move into 1. And Farmer with a look at Trevor Nelson. While at the front, Fiorelli was already out to a sizable lead. Lap 2 and a wild ride for Todd Nelson, having a massive moment after catching too much curb in the chicane onto the banking. Antonelli no doubt catching a great view from his rear view mirror. the commotion allowing Todd's son Trevor to get a run around the outside of turn 1. Trevor soon finding himself behind Knox, who'd fallen back through the pack from 5th, Knox falling victim again soon after. Meanwhile, as Gallierne cracked under McNiel's pressure, Stout was hustling Booth hard.
And I made a couple moves, and a couple of them didn't work, and finally I got him at a point that he couldn't get ahead of me or take my track away from me, so I held my grounds, and then I pulled away from him once I got ahead.
While Booth went completely off the boil.
Halfway through the second lap, the clutch started slipping, especially in second and third gear. When I would release the clutch, the RPM would wind way up before it grabbed and came back down, so I knew the clutch was going. Brent came on and said, look, just blip the throttle, put your left foot on the brake, blip the throttle and start downshifting. And lo and behold, it started to work.
But he'd already been relegated to 6th. In the meantime, McNiel dropped out completely, and disaster struck Molina.
About the 10th lap, I started noticing a little smoke. My crew member we were having trouble with the radio, so I couldn't hear real well. And corner workers did a great job, though. They started pulling up the fire bottle, so I knew it was me, and pulled off just before the start of the front straight and got it into the pits, and there was a fire crew waiting, and they did an excellent job, got it taken care of right away.
The drama continued as Farmer and Loudin dueled into turn 1.
I thought I was going to get him a couple times, and he just he went a little deeper than I was willing to go.
And then Farmer went further.
Actually, I ended up braking about a car length past the furthest I'd gone. My tires weren't up to it.
No such drama for Fiorelli, the performance SpeedTech driver cruising home to victory with a 4-second margin to Stout.
First GTU, happy. Number 1, we got it.
Stout surprised by himself, but not Fiorelli's dominance.
Well, I'd hope for a win, but Dave does a real good job. I've raced with him down here before and has a lot of ponies under that hood, and he knows how to get it around this track real well.
Loudin and Farmer, the respective winners of GT2 and GT3. Kathy Stout teaching GTU's David Decker a thing or two on her way to 9th overall. Todd Nelson spinning out of contention on the last lap. Trevor Nelson 5th. Antonelli an impressive 4th. As was Gallierne to take the final step of the GTU podium. The results keeping each of the class championships well and truly alive for the next event, the double points season finale at Watkins Glen. So stay tuned.